January 18th, 1939. Mrs. Hick Ridding wrote 2 questions on a slip of paper and asked Sri Bhagavan if her interpretations were correct. The self is beyond ignorance and knowledge. It is absolute. These doubts do not arise to the self, for it is pure consciousness and cannot admit of dark ignorance. But from our point of view, they arise. See to whom they arise. Go to their root. See if they arise after you reach their source and hold on to it. But at the present moment, such discussions are theoretical, and there will be no end to them. One must be practical and try to solve the problems for oneself by the method indicated. Find out to whom the questions arise. They will then resolve themselves immediately. Lady Bateman and others came to the hall about 3:30 p.m. In a few minutes, she asked in writing if one is nearer to pure consciousness in deep sleep than in the waking state. The sleep, dream, and waking states are mere phenomena appearing on the self, which is itself stationary, and also a state of simple awareness. Can anyone remain away from the self at any moment? This question can arise only if that were possible. Is it not often said that one is nearer pure consciousness in deep slumber than in the waking state? The question may as well be, am I nearer to myself in my sleep than in my waking state? For the self is pure consciousness. No one can ever be away from the self. The question is possible only if there is duality. But there is no duality in the state of pure consciousness. The same person sleeps, dreams, and wakes up. The waking state is considered to be full of beautiful and interesting things. The absence of such experiences makes one say that the sleep state is dull. Before we proceed further, let us make this point clear. Do you not admit that you exist in your sleep? Yes, I do. You are the same person that is now awake. Is it not so? Yes. So there is a continuity in sleep and the waking states. What is that continuity? It is only the state of pure being. There is a difference between the two states. What is that difference? The incidents, namely the body, world, and the objects, appear in the waking state, but disappear in sleep. But I am not aware in my sleep. True, there is no awareness of the body or of the world, but you must exist in your sleep in order to say, now, I was not aware in my sleep. Who says so now? It is the wakeful person. The sleeper cannot say so. That is to say, the individual who is now identifying the self with the body says that such awareness did not exist in sleep. Because you identify yourself with the body, you see the world around you and say that the waking state is filled with beautiful and interesting things. The sleep state appears dull because you were not there as an individual, and therefore these things were not. But what is the actual fact? There is the continuity of being in all the three states, but no continuity of the individual and the objects. Yes, that which is continuous is also enduring. That which is discontinuous is transitory. Yes, I see. Therefore, the state of being is permanent, and the body and the world are not. They are fleeting phenomena passing on the screen of being consciousness, which is eternal. But relatively speaking, is not the sleep state nearer to pure consciousness than the waking state? Yes, in this sense. When passing from sleep to waking, the I thought must start. The mind comes into play, and thoughts arise. And then the functions of the body come into operation. All these together make us say that we are awake. The absence of all this evolution is the characteristic of sleep, and therefore it is nearer to pure consciousness than the waking state. But one should not therefore desire to be always in sleep. In the first place, it is impossible, for it will necessarily alternate with the other states. Secondly, it cannot be the state of bliss in which the jnani finds himself, for his state is permanent and not alternating. Moreover, the sleep state is not recognized to be one of awareness by people, but the sage is always aware. Thus, the sleep state differs from the state in which the sage is established. The sleep state is free from thoughts and their impression to the individual. It cannot be altered by one's will because effort is impossible in that condition. Although nearer to pure consciousness, it is not fit for efforts to realize the self. The incentive to realize can arise only in the waking state, and effort can also be made only when one is awake. We learn that the thoughts in the waking state form the obstacle to gaining the stillness of sleep. This is what is meant by be still and know that I am God. So stillness is the aim of the seeker. Even a single effort to still at least a single thought, even for an instant, goes a long way to reach the state of quiescence. Effort is required, and it is possible in the waking state only. There is effort here. There is awareness also. The thoughts are stilled, so there is the peace of sleep gained. That is the state of the jnani. It is neither sleep nor waking, but intermediate between the two. There is the awareness of the waking state and the stillness of sleep. It is called Jagrat Sushupti. Call it wakeful sleep or sleeping wakefulness or sleepless waking, or even wakeless sleep. It is not the same as sleep or waking separately. It is beyond wakefulness or beyond sleep. It is beyond Jagrat and sleep as well as in them. It is the state of perfect awareness and of perfect stillness combined. It lies between sleep and waking, and it is also the interval between two successive thoughts. It is the source from which thoughts spring. We see that when we wake up from sleep, it is there. In other words, thoughts have their origin in the stillness of sleep. The thoughts make all the difference between the stillness of sleep and the turmoil of waking. So go to the root of the thoughts and you reach the stillness of sleep. But you reach it in the full vigor of search, that is, with perfect awareness. This again is Jagrat Sushupti. It is not dullness, but it is bliss. It is not transitory, but eternal. From that, the thoughts proceed. What are all our experiences but thoughts? Pleasure and pain are mere thoughts. They are within us. If you are free from thoughts and yet aware, you are that perfect being. Lady Bateman appreciated the discourse and thanked Sri Bhagavan. Later, she said that she would be leaving the next day. And Sri Bhagavan smiled and said, "You do not leave one place for another. You are always stationary. The scenes go past you. Even from the ordinary point of view, you sit in your cabin and the ship sails, but you do not move. We see a picture of a man running several miles and rushing towards us, but the screen does not move. It is the picture that moves on and away. I see, but I can understand it only after I realize the self. The self is always realized. Were realization something to be gained, there would be an equal chance of it being lost. It would thus be only transitory. Transitory bliss brings pain in its wake. It cannot be liberation, which is eternal. Were it true that you realize it later, it means that you are not realized now. Absence of realization of the present moment may be repeated at any moment in the future, for time is infinite. So also such realization is impermanent, but that is not true. It is wrong to consider realization to be impermanent. Realization is the true eternal state, which cannot change. Yes, I shall understand it in the course of time. You are already that. Time and space cannot affect the self. They are in you. So also all that you see around you is in you. There is a story to illustrate this point. A lady had a precious necklace around her neck. Once, in her excitement, she forgot it and thought that the necklace was lost. She became anxious and looked for it in her home, but could not find it. She asked her friends and neighbors if they knew anything about the necklace. They did not. At last, a kind friend of hers told her to feel the necklace around her neck. She found that it had been around her neck all the time, and she was happy. When the others asked her later if she had found the necklace that was lost, she said, "Yes, I did find it." She still felt that she had recovered a lost jewel. Now, did she lose it at all? It was around her neck all along. But judge her feelings. She is happy as though she had indeed recovered a lost jewel. Similarly, it is with us. We imagine we would realize that self sometime, whereas we are never anything but the self. I feel that I am transplanted into some land other than the earth. Sri Bhagavan, while looking into some correspondence, heard this, smiled, and said, "This is the kingdom of heaven." The kingdom of heaven mentioned in the Bible and this world are not two different regions. The kingdom is within you, says the Bible. The realized being sees this as the kingdom of heaven, whereas others see it as this world. The difference lies only in the angles of vision. How can we deny the world and the people therein? I hear some music, it is sweet and grand, and I recognize it to be Wagner's music. I cannot claim it to be mine. Does Wagner or his music exist apart from you? Unless you are there to say it is Wagner's music, can you be aware of it? Without being aware of it, can it be said to exist? To make it more clear, do you recognize Wagner's music in your deep sleep? And yet you admit that you exist in sleep. So it is clear that Wagner and music are only your thoughts. They are in you and not outside of you. That is so beautiful.